Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Average, and this is our NuxtJS web development full stack series. And in today's episode, we are going to be looking at useAsyncData. This is a composable that allows us to fetch data and use it asynchronously for server-side rendering. The main problem that we're looking to solve here on our site is when we refresh, you'll notice that there's some jitter with the login here. We want to remove that. Why is it jittering? Well, that's because we're actually calling our await verify authentication onMounted. So this is when the component navigation bar gets mounted, then we're going to start doing this, which isn't the best way to do it because we're not going to wait for this to be done, and it's not going to be rendered on the server side, which is something we do want to do. So we can improve this by basically reusing our verify authentication. However, instead of setting our value here at the end, user.value, we're just going to return result.user.user. So now when we call this function, it will return our user when it fetches it. And instead of onMounted, we're going to be using our useAsyncData. So we can do const data user, go await useAsyncData, say navbar user, and we can give it our verify authentication function here. It's complaining because we have two variables named the same thing. We can just get rid of this right here, and we can also cast this down here as a JWT user info. Why do we have this here, this little navbar user key? And the reason why we have that here is because we are fetching it and we're expecting a user. So if we use this somewhere else in our code, we'll actually have this value cached because we've already requested it. So it's going to deduplicate the requests, and this will only need to be called once, at least all of this, and we can just cache the return value. But Nuxt already does that for you. So now when we go to our website, you'll notice we no longer have that jitter at all, which is amazing. Something I do want to do is add a logout button just next to the username. So we're going to do that, and it's going to be very simple. Actually enclose our username in a div because we want these to be separate elements. And then we're also going to have another div, and this div is going to just say logout. And we are going to give it a click event, and we're going to say logout. And now we need to create that function down here. So we're just going to say async function logout. And we can clear the cookie by doing use cookie jwt underscore token dot value equals undefined. And then we're also going to want to change our refresh key by incrementing it by 1. And make sure you do refresh key dot value. Okay, so now when we go here, we'll notice a new logout thing. I'm going to make it have a hover animation. So we're going to do class equals. We're going to say hover text neutral, and then we'll do 300. And then we're also going to say cursor pointer, and this will allow it to show the kind of click cursor when we are hovering over it. So there we go. We get a little hover animation. And when we click log out, nothing will actually happen. And that's because our refresh key down here actually calls await verification, and we never set the user value. Something that we can do instead for our useAsyncData, after our function, we can actually pass it some options. And one of the options we can pass it is called watch. And we can give it our refresh key inside of an array because we're watching only this dependency. When this changes, we're going to call this. And it's actually great because now we don't need this block at all. And if we go back to our page and we log out, we should notice that it actually happens instantly now. Amazing. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This was about useAsyncData and why it's useful. Thank you, and I hope this was useful. Please make sure to subscribe, comment, like if this helped you out, and peace.